So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bowtie Radio. I'm your host, Gene Volpe, from GeneVolpe.com and YourRealEstateConcierge.com. In case you don't know how to spell that, that's C-O-N. You know what? Look it up. So, listen, I've been away for a couple weeks. Believe it or not, the tech guy had a couple tech issues, and so we're back for 2016. We're launching this thing. We just upgraded the website. There's all kinds of stuff going on, so we're excited to be back with you. And we're going to continue to deliver you some good information for your small business and or your real estate business. So let's get right into it. Couple things. First thing we're going to talk about a couple items. So we're going to talk about how'd you get my name. We're going to talk about a book that I'm reading right now. Well, I shouldn't say that. I'm really listening to it. I'm not reading it because I can't keep have attention for that long. But I am listening to it, and it's wonderful. It keeps me motivated. We're going to talk about the 30 plus 60 initiative. We are going to talk about brand confusion, and we are going to talk about Revolution It's going to be coming up on April 18th. So let's talk about Revolution. Revolution.com for more information. Here's what's going to happen. Yours truly is going to be emceeing. So we're going to have a huge event, the greatest one-day real estate tech event out there. All right? No disrespect for the folks that are putting them on right now, but this one is going to be like no other. And so here's what's going to happen. On the 18th of April, 2016, we're all going to meet up, you and 40 of your closest friends. We're all going to meet up at the Valley Forge Casino. We're going to have lunch. We're going to do a lot of things. I may or may not be in a Gumby suit. We'll see how that plays out. And when I say may or may not, chances are high that I will be. I may or may not be on a Segway. The bow tie that I wear may or may not get bigger. I'm not giving away too many secrets here, but here's what I'm going to tell you. We're going to do lunch, and we have some giveaways, and we also have some of the greatest speakers that I've seen lined up yet. So let's go through them. You're going to see me all day. All right, so maybe that's not a great start, but listen. You're going to see me. We're going to make it fun. You're going to see Mr. Jamie Oler from Revio, the guys that are actually putting the event on, Reviolution.com. He's going to be talking to you about using video in your business. We're going to see Mr. Ed Fordyce. He is coach at level 10. He is in the real estate industry, has been for years. He's a CrossFitter like myself. Extremely in shape, and there's probably not many people on the planet that bring more energy than he does, so you're going to learn a ton of stuff from him. So Ed Fordyce is coming. We have a gentleman named Mark Hall. What Mark does, Mark is actually traveling down from, I could be wrong, but I think he's up in the Maine area. I heard either Maine or Boston, but he's flying down here, and he's getting involved because he's got some things he wants to show you about body language for your clients. So how are you reading your clients? How are they reading you? What are they taking off your body language? I'm kind of excited about that one. That one is going to be pretty cool. We are going to have the Pennsylvania Association Realtors President-elect, Kathleen McQuilkin, will be there, as well as a special guest of hers, who I'm not going to say yet. And there's a couple more secret guys, but here's what I'm real excited about. There's a gentleman out there that you may or may not know, and if you don't know, you're not paying attention to the tech side, but his name is Chris Smith. And he's coming with his partner, Jimmy. And what they're doing is, first off, they're giving out 500 books. So Chris Smith actually just wrote a book, his second book, I believe, and if I'm right on that, if I'm wrong on that, I apologize to Chris. But this one is called The Curator. No, that's the name of his company. This one's called The Conversion Code. There we go. I'll get it right sooner or later. Chris is going to give away 500 copies of his book. I did forget to mention that Ed Fordyce is going to give away 100 free training sessions with him, one-on-ones. Those things will last about 45 minutes to an hour. And you get a sense to how to change your life and your business through him. I actually have done it, and I will speak a little bit about that on stage because Ed's a personal, close friend of mine. And you're going to get a little background as to how I met him and how he changed things for me. So you can't miss that. But back to Chris Smith. Chris Smith used to be with Inman News. He was their top guy over there. They left and started their own company called Curator. So what he does is lead generation and conversion for real estate agents. He's really fun to watch, cool cat, good to listen to. You can't miss him. Do a search for him. And it's, I'm not going to try to spell Curator. I think it's Curaytor. That's the name of their company. But look for Chris. So So reviolution.com to check it out and get your tickets. Okay, like I said, the first 500 that sign up will get the book. The first 100 that sign up will actually get the Ed's coaching. You're going to probably, I know we have a box. They keep saying, oh, like 7. What's in the box? What's in the box? There's going to be thousands and thousands, maybe 50 grand worth of giveaways, tech giveaways, things you can use in your business, things you can give to your friends. There's going to be vendors. There's going to be sponsors. It's going to be out of hand. So April 18th, make sure you get on board. Get your ticket early so you get the book. And I'm trying to get Chris Smith to send me an advanced copy of that thing. It's not released yet. So I can do a little review of it. So when I get up on stage, I'm not a bumbling idiot. I can talk about it a little bit. So that's cool. So Revolution, April 18th. All right. On to the next one. Let's talk about some key elements here. The 30 plus 60 initiative is something that I want to say I started. And by me starting it, I did create it in my own mind. But what I don't want to stick to is that I haven't done really good by it in 2016. So the idea initially was in 2016, I'm going to spend 30 minutes a day bettering myself, whether it be reading, studying, meditating, whatever it is. That doesn't include the workouts. That doesn't include some of the other things. But 30 minutes a day, basically shutting the electronics off and concentrating on growing as a person. And that's happened a good amount. I mean, my wife calls it daydreaming, but it's actually me focusing on other things that maybe, are here or aren't here. I can't get into it. But if you ever see me staring off in the distance, that's my 30 minutes I'm getting in. The 60 minutes, I can always do better on this. That's turning the phone off and spending the time with the kids. And the wife, too, of course. Although, these days, she probably would be happier if I was just doing my own thing. I'm kidding. But with my kids, I wanted to spend that 30 plus 60. So my initiative is to take role and make sure that I'm paying more attention to the 30 plus 60 initiative this year. And I can tell you I'm already better at it than I was in 2015. But I'm just, there's always room for improvement. So, if you want to call me out on Twitter or Facebook or any of those things, you can find me at Gene Volpe all over the place, GeneVolpe.com. If you want to check in and see how I'm doing, I would love the accountability. Hold it to me. So it's not something that I'm afraid to talk about. It's not something that I'm afraid to tell you I'm failing at. So I'm just trying to work harder at it. We'll see how that plays out. Now, a couple other things that I want to get into real quick. Some marketing techniques and things that are going on. So in the last couple of weeks, if you've watched any of my 1-minute videos, quick hits, we've talked about a couple things. And one was brand confusion. And so it's actually kind of funny how it came about. I was talking to a friend of mine who was actually a client. And he says to me, oh, you're only in real estate, right? And I said, well, I am in real estate, but we do other things too. And he said, well, what else do you do? And I said, well, for one, we do your company. I wasn't just doing that as a friend. This is part of our line of business. And it just dawned on me that how are you supposed to generate business, a new business, when people have no idea what it is that you do? So I went back and I took a look at all the things I have going, the websites and all. And there's a lot of work to be done. Don't get me wrong. If you go and look now, some of the stuff looks exactly like it did 3 weeks ago. So I'm not lying to you. My website, GeneVolpe.com, has been completely overhauled and upgraded. We're still working on it. There's a lot to be done. But what I'm trying to do is eliminate, well, I wonder what that is he's doing. So that's what I'm trying to eliminate. So what I'm coming up with is a consistent message that says, my name's Gene Volpe, and if you need X, this is what I provide and how I provide it. So anytime anybody has a question about what I'm doing, or if they have a service that they need that I provide, there's never any thought about where they're going to go to get it. That's my hope. So if you have, one of the things I was saying to one of my clients was, when this dawned on me, start asking some of the closest people to you if they know what it is that you do, and ask them to explain it. And if the answers that you get don't jive or aren't in line with what you actually do, you have a brand confusion issue. And you need to figure out a way to eliminate that brand confusion, because if people don't know what it is that you do, they're not going to call you for it, right? So if you're in real estate and people are confused, or they think you do something else, or they're not sure if you do it full time, or you're not the greatest at it, whatever it is, why would they ever call you for the real estate needs, right? I mean, there's so many examples I could give, but that brand confusion is something that you want to eliminate in your business, and your business will go up. if you eliminate that. So pay attention to it. And like I said, there's an easy test to that, and that test would be simply start asking the closest people to you, what do you think I do for life, in my life, or for a living? And I'm going to tell you a funny story with brand confusion. I have 2 daughters who are now 10 and 7. And when I was fresh out of Verizon back in about 2007 or 2008, I was making some pretty good money. We had some good money in the bank, and I was doing okay. Had a pretty fancy car back when those things were extremely important to me because I was younger and dumber. Not that they're not important now, but less important than the kids and having the heat on in the house, right? But I had a nice car, and I used to drop my oldest, who at the time was about, I could be off, but like 3 or 4 years old, and we used to drop her off at the daycare. And because I was flexible and my schedule worked the way that it did, I was all over the place, but I was there a lot. So they would see me pop in the morning, they'd see me come back 3 hours later, because it was like a 9 to 12, right? So I would go at 9, drop her off, come back at 12:15, thinking I was the king of the world, man. I get to do what I want. But as I started to go through that school, I started to see these looks from the women that were there, like almost like, oh, how sad he must be out of work. And so I got a kick out of that. I thought that was funny that people automatically assumed that because I was dressed in black Reebok pants, wore a hat backwards, and was rolling around at 12:30 on a Tuesday, that I didn't have anything to do. It just so happened that I was working my business around the hours I had to get the girls, right? So my daughter, who's, again, at the time 4, comes home to me and says, Dad, all the ladies and all my teachers today asked me what it is that you do. And I said, oh, okay, great. What did you tell them? And she said, I told them I don't know. So I said, listen to me. You're going to get older and you're going to get prettier. If people see me driving around in a $50,000, $60,000 black car, dressed in all black, with a hat on backwards, and they think that I don't have a job, they're going to assume some things. And for your protection, the things they're going to assume are probably okay. So I always thought that was a pretty funny story. There was brand confusion there. They had no idea I was in real estate. They had no idea that I was doing any kind of consulting or speaking or any of that stuff. But I just thought that was funny because now they probably thought I was, I don't know how you would say it, in the mob. Who knows? Who knows what they thought? Maybe somebody's hitman. Who knows? But that's okay. If that's what they're going to think, let them think it. I'm not opposed to it, especially with being that I have girls. That's a good thing. So that's the brand confusion side of this thing. I want to take one more thing here. It's a marketing tactic that I use pretty regularly. Actually, I use it all the time. I can't lie to you. There's a lot of things I preach that I would say to you, like, do as I say, not as I do, because I preach it, but I don't do it 100% of the time. I have flaws, but this one I do a lot. Anytime somebody finds my information or calls me or hits me on the web or hits me on Twitter, I always ask, how'd you get my name? How'd you find out about us? What did you do? I talk to a lot of people in business and in real estate and with companies and all that stuff. And there's one constant thing that I get, and it's that they don't ask that question at the pertinent times. When you get a phone call from somebody, you really need to start asking the question how they heard about you, because if you continuously get the same answer back and forth, Facebook ads, I saw a Facebook ad, Facebook ad, Facebook ad, guess what? You're probably going to want to boost the amount of times you do that Facebook ad, right? If you're getting 10 people a month by spending $400, theoretically, when you're thinking about it, in order to get 20 people a month, you just double the spend, right? I mean, it doesn't work quite like that, but you get the idea. So when people are spending a lot of marketing dollars across different avenues of marketing, whether it be print, social, your website, direct mail, whatever that stuff is, you probably need to know that these people are calling you because of each and every element of that marketing or none, right? So if you continuously direct mail, which I don't think this is the case, in certain cases I'm sure it is, but if you continuously direct mail to people and you never get a phone call, well, you could be spending $1,000, $3,000, $5,000 a month mailing things out to people's houses, and they don't care about it. Maybe the design isn't right. Maybe the message stinks. Maybe they just don't care. Right? Maybe you're not handsome. I don't know what that could be. A lot of things. But why would you continue to spend money on advertising that doesn't work? In order to figure out where your ROI is, you need to make sure you know that when people call in, that hey, I learned about you from X. I found you in Y. I saw you on A, B, and C. These are the things that you need to focus your business on. So how did you get my name? You got to ask that question. Anytime somebody calls you cold, out of the blue, hits you on social, Where did you find me? How did you get my name? You may also find out that you have a friend out there that you didn't know was constantly telling people you're the greatest in your line of business. I have that all the time. Every once in a blue moon, I'll get a phone call from somebody and they'll say, hey, Kevin sent you. Okay, cool. I appreciate it. And I'll find Kevin and thank him and take him to lunch. And then 2 days later, I get another one. Kevin, hey, listen, I got to hire Kevin as a sales guy, man. This dude is pumping me up and I'm getting leads from it. This is a great deal. So find out why and how people got your name, okay? That's another tip. So we got the 30 plus 60 rule, or initiative, I should say. The Grant Cardone 10X. It's the 10X rule is what it's called. Get it on audio or do the book, whatever floats your boat. It's a good one. Reviolution on April 18th. You can go to reviolution.com. Don't forget to check genevolpe.com. And then last but not least, I'm going to close it out with a little bit of a sad story, but it's got a good message behind it. And if I had done this earlier in January, this story would be a little more fresh, but because of the technical difficulties I told you, we took a couple weeks off. But back in December, we found out that a friend of the family had passed away. And I'll say his name. His name was Michael Prendergast, and he was a firefighter with my father. And it had been 25 years, I guess, since I'd seen him. I know I'm off. I can't figure it out. But I had to go back and pay my respects to his family. He's got 4 girls. And I just had to go back and just say 2 words. It wasn't an attention thing at all. Here's a guy, and I'm going to be honest. I could name 15 other ones, and I won't do that. But here's a guy that ran with a circle of guys that took care of my family when my father was diagnosed with leukemia and when my mom was forced to leave her job because she had to care for my father. So there was a good 4 or 5 year period there where I was still young, 14, 15, 16. I was young enough to not know what was going on financially and how they were struggling and whether cars were getting repoed. I don't know any of that stuff, and I'm glad I don't. And I'm the oldest of 6. As you probably know, so my brothers and sisters had no idea either. What I wasn't too young to see is the camaraderie and the brotherhood and the compassion and caring that people like Michael Prendergast offered to my family in our time of need. And I'm kind of getting a little emotional here because I wish I didn't wait till his funeral to tell his folks. And I know I've said things to them in the past. Anytime I got to see them, I had seen him actually, I lied to you, 25 years. It wasn't 25 years. He helped us out with something just a couple years back, 3 years back. And I had seen him for a couple minutes. And, I was able to thank him for everything. Thanking's one thing. For everything they did for us, thanking is crap compared to what they deserve. But I wanted to go back and just really say, thank you, Michael. Thank you to your family, because I know your wife was huge in it, sending over food. Thank you to the rest of that brotherhood, and Michael Prendergast, rest in peace, man. So that's it for this one. I'm sorry to end it on a sad note, but it was important to me to get that out there. And I hope you understand why I did that, and you were okay with ending it on a note. But like I said, there's a lot of things in this podcast that you can take, I hope, and use for your business. And if not, I hope to at least see you out on the 18th of April. It's going to be a lot of fun. Reviolution.com. So check me out at genevolpe.com. Hit me on Twitter at genevolpe. There's a lot of places you can find me. Send me your messages. If there's something you'd like me to cover on one of these podcasts, I'd be happy to do that as well. So until next time, this is Gene Volpe signing off, Bowtie Radio. Thanks so much, folks.